about it before. I see it as a support system. There's so many of our mob that are isolated, especially grandmothers who are looking after grandkids, nieces, nephews, whatever. And when something happens, they don't have the assistance, the help or support from community because nobody knows. And I'll give you an example. When the police went into a house and they wanted to arrest one of the boys, and the other boy jumped in and the police were going to shoot him. And the poor old grandmother was screaming, didn't know what to do, didn't know who to call. And it's things like that, you know. There's a lot of loneliness in our community. Yeah.
Gunhinarrung-bang Ngaangirra. What does that mean?
Aboriginal Grandmothers Gathering Group. Yeah, Wiradjuri, Grandmothers Gathering Group.
The grandmothers come out of a necessity in relation to Aboriginal, not only men, women and children, but families and the wider Aboriginal community. Is that Aboriginal people had to adjust, adapt and adopt
And
survive European socio-economic structure in relation to governance. Aboriginal people have been behind the eighth wall since colonisation. They don't understand their rights. They don't know who to contact. They don't know what avenues to take in terms of if you're dealing with the police or if you're dealing with DCJ or if you're dealing with the education system. All these play a factor in relation to Aboriginal people getting the right information and the right accessibility, and like our ancestors did for centuries in handing down that knowledge, you know, generational knowledge, transfer of knowledge. So that's what we've come back to in terms of what the Grandmothers Group is all about, is giving them the tools, the education and the knowledge to undertake how to adapt and adopt the European system. In March 2023, we sat on a bench in the park, ate bananas because Dawnie brought the bananas and the water. That's what we had.
When we sit together, we talk about, you know, Shell would love to do a pop-up playgroup in the park for young mums, just to teach them how to connect with their kids, simple things that you can do with them. Western Plains Zoo out here, like they do amazing programs in the school holidays, but it's expensive. It's expensive. You know, if our kids, our Aboriginal kids, if we could get them funded to do a Rangers program during the school holidays, it would be amazing. You know, if we could get our young girls to learn how to weave during the school holidays, that would be wonderful, you know. But it's about the money and it's about finding that centre and then progress into a childcare centre and then progress to, you know, bigger and better things. And then, you know, Auntie Velda always talks about how she would love to have a bus and drive around the streets and pick up all the kids that are sitting on the streets and take them out to their own hostel and look after them, you know. That's amazing, you know. And Auntie Di would love to sit in amongst all of the big heads and the big companies and fight with the policies. And, you know, Irene with her land council and that connection, and if we had a hub that everyone could come to for sorry business, just to connect, just to yarn for good stories. We don't get to do that.
You know, and I always see the Grannies Group and just us as individuals in general, is that, you know, it's not about these barriers that we face, it's about eliminating these gaps, these so-called gaps, eliminating them before they're even there to begin with.
I'm hoping when we get established and get our own building, that these agencies come to us
Yes.
for support.
Yeah.
They got to pay us, of course.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah, you know why we're happy Shirley's sitting around the table?
Like you said, Dawnie, we can be those wraparound services in terms of not only our expertise, our knowledge, and also experience. You can't teach experience, you have to live it. You can't get experience out of a textbook. So that's what we did, the oldest. We learnt from our old elders. We listened to them. I mean, we had no choice. Listen, and listen very carefully, because what they taught us, one of the main things that they did teach us was respect. And that's what we have to instill in our young today, because a lot of them has gone away from our cultural practices. Sitting around this table with all these grandmothers, the wealth of knowledge, the wealth of expertise throughout their working life is at its pinnacle, where we can call upon each other sitting around this table. If we need information, if we, need that field, we've got a grandmother who's worked in that genre for years and years.
So years ago, I got involved with a group of Aboriginal mums. Couldn't access childcare here. So we all got together, used to pick our kids up and other kids up, and we'd go to a church, we'd go wherever they'd let us meet. And one of our mums had a garage. We even set that up as a childcare and worked in that. And we just kept on going and going and going until the government listened to us. And all these MAC services rolled out all around the communities, and Dubbo was given one. And that's how come we ended up with one here. But you've got to keep going. We're not going to stop.
If you don't have the confidence, we're here to support you. We'll walk through the doors with you. We'll have that conversation with them, but that's what's happened so far, is we've always been railroaded. And if our mob don't feel supported, and they don't have the confidence to do it, that's what this group is here for.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only way we're going to make changes.
And the sad thing is that there's always support in some sort of service or some sort of program out there, but it's always a pilot. So it'll run for a year or it'll run for 2 years.
Oh.
The grandmothers ain't running nowhere. They're here for good. You know what I mean?
What is it, Governor?
We want our say.
Stay, and we want our say.
That's right.